Go past my statue in the front before you even get to me. Yo, I've been down it since I was 8, cause my team wasn't on pace. Give them 81 to their face, Jaylee Roses on their grave. Now 24 when they really hate. Love it when the stakes so high, I rest not well done like 10 alone on my dinner plate. First take to the max, I kill a man, that's no debate. It was fate since I began, I was bound to be great. In my leg going and sinking, in my way I shaking bait. Niggas say I stay with every move I make. You see the two types of man, the one that's on the court and the one that's in the stand. The one playing the sport and the one that's just a fan. But don't understand, but swear they could do better than you on this last dance. But you Jerry Corset, looking up to Jordan, more than too important, and you ain't wanna put it. Well, I'm hated or supported, y'all getting extorted. Leave your team assorted, you traded while I'm awarded. Hey, let me see those hands now. Let me see you dance now. Let me see those hands now. Let me see you dance now.
Stand back and watch it go mode. Half man, half ram, call it go mode. On the proud with my ground, call it go mode. GOAT, you know we
Now they
go
call me PW Kirk, a legend in 2 games. I went from dancing to rapping, I'm bodying both lanes. They had me down 3-1, came back like King James. I ain't chasing this fame, just stacking up all this change. Look, I wasn't tall, so I idolized the guards. Now I cross over like Iverson with these bars. I was in China like Marbury, living large. And Kimber Walker from the Bronx, I knew I could be a star. I made a couple raps and now they asking, can I open up? I got them fans throwing up their arms like I woke them up. See me on their TV screens, more you going up. Ain't gotta brag, you know what's up when we showing up. They told me be the best I can be. I ain't the definition of gold, it's the definition of me. 10,000 hours, time to take the game mastery, and I'm in gold mode with this Mamba mentality. Let me see those hands now. Let me see you dance now. Let me see those hands now. Let me see you dance now.
Stand back and watch it go mode. Half man, half ram, call it go mode. On the proud with my ground, call it go mode. GOAT, you know we gon' go.
Greatest of all time, the greatest of all things. Waffle crew in the house, the greatest of all teams. When I talent to America like AGT, 2K23, you cannot play with me. I'm a step ahead like a stutter step that you went for. Pump fake, 4-point play like I'm Chris Paul. Vince Carter over foreign giants, hopping out the foreign like a giant. Known to be quiet, causing a riot. Burn the whole system down, form a new alliance. Open interpretation between spirit and science. Your reliance on our human genetics upsetting. You watch sports and watch the black man's natural progression. Hold on, wait a minute. Oh, my Kawhi Leonard. I don't really think they getting Curry with the winning goal. The state of mind, I'm really in it. I'm the one they always go at when they wanna go at with it. I'm a goat mode, 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 goat mode. Here we go. 23 from the line, goat mode. Moonwalking with the shine, goat mode. When your chakras all aligned, that is goat mode. GOAT, you know I'm going goat mode. Goat mode, go, 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 go mode. Bring it back, bring it back.
Yes. Rick Rhythm Money. Hello.
Every time I step in the
Oh my
arena,
God, that's so good. You want to do it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Oh my goodness. Goat mode. How's everybody doing? Listen, welcome to Bravo with Sheila and my co-host Dawn B. We are in the house and happy to be here. I hope that all of you are well. It's an exciting time. Why? Because we're alive. Simply because we're alive. It's so exciting to be alive. I don't care what you're going through, what you've been through, what it looks like in your life. Everything is subject to change but God. So you just got to know that everything that you're going through is subject to change. If you're having a rough time, it's subject to change. If you're going to mental issues, it's subject to change. If you're going to physical issues, it's subject to change. And tonight we have a wonderful conversation and chat. We got Sandra Birthright in the house already. We say welcome to my dear sister / Y'all know what that means. She's a lot of things to me. Listen, we're happy to be here tonight. Those of you who are tuning in on Facebook, we invite you to hang out with us just a little while tonight so we can talk about this important topic. No enemy within. What you talking about, Sheila? What I said, no enemy within. There's so many things that we pick up in life, so many things that penetrate, so many things that come in and violate us. We have to take control over our own innermost being. And sometimes that's so difficult to do because life doesn't stop happening. So welcome to Bravo with Sheila and co-host Dawn B. I got some ideas for us. I think we're going to move and just open up this platform and this broadcast to talk to any and everybody, right? Women, men, young youth, whatever. We've already had the generation X on. We've already had baby boomers on. We've had every generation to chat on this platform to what? Empower you, infuse you with help, to help you get from pain to power, and from power to what? Victory, victory. So how are you doing, Dawn B?
I am great. I'm amazing. I am grateful the day is over. 2 days into the week and God is still good.
Amen. That's right. He is always good. Like I said, no matter what we carry, you know how they say we have to bear our cross and carry our cross every
Right.
day. Everybody got a different kind of cross, a red cross, a
Jesus.
black cross, a brass cross, a gold cross, an ivory cross. Listen, we
It's
have to
a cross.
bear it every single day, and it is not easy. And especially when you have intrusion on the inside of you, especially
My
when
goodness.
things find their way into your emotional being and into your heartbeat, into your soul and into your spirit. We have to be so mindful of the things that come to interrupt our purpose, that interrupt where we're headed and where we're going. And sometimes that's people, places, and things. And
Yes, ma'am.
tonight, we're going to talk about 10 things mentally strong people give up to gain inner peace. So you know what? You see right there, we could just park there, because guess what?
Mhm.
I do my best to not allow people to tamper with my peace.
All bets are off.
Because when you don't have peace, everything on the inside feels off. You're upside down. You're not
Mhm.
in a good space to do all the things that you're supposed to do for you and those that you're connected to. So that inner peace thing is so, so powerful to hold on to it. But it's not easy, Dawn.
No, you have to fight for it daily, and sometimes you got to even fight yourself for it.
Whoa.
I know me. I want to say I'm my. The other day I said to my mother, I said, "Mommy, I said I'm my worst enemy," and she said, "No." She said, "You might be your hardest enemy." She said, like the devil, Satan is your worst enemy. She said, "But you might be your hardest enemy, because we fight within ourselves." So when I don't have, sometimes I have to fight myself for my peace and not allowing myself to go other places, to take on other people's emotions, to
Mhm.
allow their frustrations or negativity to trigger, something within me. So, that's the biggest fight. When you maintain that and when you discipline yourself for your peace,
Yes.
you won't let
Yes.
nobody else
Yes.
disturb that.
So true, so true, and a lot of times we start out the gate with certain people or places or things, jobs, whatever it is, seems like this is the place I belong, this is the place I'm going to wind up. But then things shift and things happen. And if we're not able to shift with things
Hmm.
and recalibrate things on the inside, then it becomes so difficult.
Yeah, the things that we once enjoyed, now become a burden. And I think also, that happens when we don't, like you said, when we don't shift, when we don't make the pivot. And that shift and pivot, I believe, comes with us leaving space for us to grow.
Right, right.
You're not going to stay in that same place. The things that satisfied me once, I can't expect them to still satisfy me now. You
Oh,
know,
that's
not in,
powerful.
not in the same place.
That's powerful. You have to really, on purpose, intentionally keep up with yourself. You know how
Yeah.
people say, keep up with me.
Right.
Keep up with. No, no, no. Keep up with
Me, like
yourself.
me keep
Let
up
me
with me.
me keep up with me, right? Because me could be all out of sorts, right? Because
Quite
life, I'm telling you, this thing called life is something, and
yeah.
sometimes people just avoid things that continuously, it's like a rotation in their lives, and they don't find themselves shifting or moving, but everything around them is moving, and then they get frustrated. It's just work. It really is work.
Yeah, and I think because then it makes you feel out of sorts, and oftentimes we don't recognize when the shift has taken place and how did we miss it.
Yeah,
Because we become so comfortable with where we are. The worst thing that we can be in any situation is comfortable.
that is so true.
So we have to learn, like you said, you have to identify when the shift takes place, and then be able to move along with it.
Yeah, I'm saying, I have always said for a long time, I said I have to identify it to crucify it.
Oh, that's good. I gotta write that down.
You got to identify it to crucify it. You could act like it's not there, it's non-existent,
Mhm.
but it's chipping away at your innermost being. So we must identify it to crucify it. And I mean crucify it. It's got to go.
You're talking right. You're right, because if we don't identify, what are you fighting? And then
Exactly.
how do you know how much strength you need to fight this, or what you need to fight it, if you can't even identify what it is you're fighting? So that's really good. And that's a lot. That speaks to self-reflection and honesty.
Yes.
We can't avoid and deny who and what we are. We have to start embracing those things in those spaces. Like I said, that's really good. I'm saying, put that on a t-shirt, Auntie.
No question. No question. And as you say, strength, mental strength and inner peace go hand in hand. Mentally strong people are confident that they can handle whatever life throws at them. That's not to say we don't feel the pain. I say we because I believe that I'm at this point in my life where I am mentally in a place of strength,
Mhm.
right? Coming through so many things. I think everyone can have a testimony of where they were and where they are now. Despite where we want to be, we are moving. And as long as you're moving and growing, that's the key. So that experience of emotions is something we have to stay in tune with. And so tonight I want us to talk about these 10 things that really, really are, it's very, very important to those who desire to get to that place or to remain in that place. And so
Mhm.
the 10 things, the first thing I want to talk about is engaging with toxic people. Engaging with toxic people. The people you surround yourself will affect the way you think, the way you feel, and behave. Engaging with people who lie, gossip, bully, or cheat takes a toll on your well being. People don't understand that that's so important, that mentally strong people don't waste their energy, right?
No,
Don't waste their energy to change toxic people. You can't change people, much less a toxic person.
no, you're talking right. And sometimes we have to think about first of all, how did the toxic people get in your space?
Mm,
Because as we change and evolve, they didn't just show up one day and you let them in. Like, it's usually because, there was a safety, there's a connection, and it doesn't
mm.
mean that they could be toxic, and it doesn't mean that there's everything bad about them. So maybe you connected with them on something that was positive, but even with that, the majority of
Mm.
what they do and who they are is toxic and negative. And like you said, we will stick around trying to think we can convert them and we can change them, and then we end up becoming like them. End up becoming
Yeah,
tainted by that. So,
yeah.
we have to think about, how did you get here?
Right. And another thing that I find that people have difficulty doing, moving from toxic people, is that people are very codependent. And codependent is an addiction, just like drugs. And everyone thinks it's not. It's such a super long list of the traits and the characteristics of codependency. So being around toxic people and say you're in love with someone and you have a deep feeling for someone and you think, oh, I can help them because they have so much possibility, they have so much potential, and you stay in that working hard trying to change someone who's toxic, not that they don't have quality, but because they're toxic and they become a crutch. And so now you're there enabling. The enabler does
Mhm.
more harm than anything. What do you think?
I totally agree. And I think that it speaks to people's need to be needed.
Yes.
It feeds right into that. Like you're saying, the enabler and being codependent, and we think we're doing such a great thing. We have to not trick our minds into thinking that we're doing such a great thing, that we are ignoring the truth of what we're doing. Like, no,
Yeah.
if you're helping them and they're not getting better, then is it helping?
Yeah.
Are you
Absolutely.
really helping?
Yeah.
And then you can't get caught up. A lot of times we continue to remain there because we start to feel there's a guilt factor.
Mm.
Because then you don't want to feel like you abandon them
Oh yeah.
in the midst of,
Yeah.
but yet you're
Absolutely.
drowning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I lived it. I literally lived it. There was a time I would, I was the savior, and this
Mhm.
behavior, you don't really know that this is some spinning out type of behavior, and I had to really find out the root of where I picked up that codependent spirit from. right? Because I mean, especially if you're a born again believer, the word tells us to help our brother, to treat our brothers like they're, you know, you want to be treated. All those scriptures that make you be locked into something that you need to get out of, really, you know, because so you're like, Lord, you're telling me to do this, but how am I going to do that? How am I going to leave this person? And you said, stay and help. And so when you're torn in between that, some people who are not believers, you know, they go through what they go through, but believers, I felt trapped and didn't understand really what codependency was. And here I had, you know, I'm always saying like, no, I got 99% right and he got 99% wrong, you know, and I got the 1%. I'm only accountable for 1%, right? So I got it all together. It's really him, right? And it was true. He did have the majority of the percentage of what was going on, but I had to own up because, you know, 5% can crush a whole 95% if that 5% is crazy.
Right. It depends on what that 5% what side it's on. What side it's on.
And I had to learn the hard way, Dawn. I really had to understand what was it that caused me to always feel like I need to help. I need to help, especially if I see potential in you and you feel like, you know, they got a war story. I've been through this. I've been through that. In the meantime, I've been through whatever. But again, we're talking about strong people. So strong people channel the waters different from people who are strong / dependent. Right. They're not independent. They're dependent. And then you go because you know you can handle it and you put all this stuff on your plate. And I had such a thing of codependency and didn't understand it, didn't know it. But I was seeking about myself. I knew the things, the areas. I wasn't the type of woman that needed a man in my bed. I wasn't the type of woman that was weak and would do anything or allow anybody to do anything to me. So I was, again, upset because the checklist was good. Nope, that's not you. I wanted to find something on the checklist so I could understand.
So the math wasn't mathing. That's what
it wasn't mathing. Dawn, it wasn't mathing. So it made me a little crazy, right? I was like, how am I going to find this situation? So I wound up going to this counselor. And you know, you counseling and having people counsel you. And I always tell people, even when they come to me, let's have a 15-minute consultation and see if I'm a good fit for you. Right. You got to have a good fit. A person has to understand where you walk, where you've been, what you've been through, what you're carrying with no condemnation. Right. You got to be able to go into a life and say, okay, I see this. But because, you know, when you've gone through so much and live, I say, I can't take you where I haven't been. You know, I always say that. And I've been in some places emotionally, physically, the whole nine. And so me trying to find out what is going on with me. So I sat with it and he was like getting history and talking. And that's when I learned about temperament profile and the introvert, the extrovert, the sanguine, the phlegmatic, the melancholy. You know, I found all these different, the choleric, and how that just blew my mind. And I said, oh, this is fascinating because just taking that profile answered questions like this. Boom, boom, boom. Right. It was amazing. And I was like, how could this happen? Then we got deep into sessions, right? And I'm just talking now because the inner you and those of you are listening, the inner you is so important to find the answers, whatever it is, why those blank spaces are there, the spaces that you trip up into all the time. And by the time I was talking and with my counselor, God bless, he was the CEO of this New York City Christian Counseling Center. I'll never, ever forget him because he was the one who took time and dug in and found certain things. And when it happened, the light went on. You know, Oprah says, aha. My thing is, it ain't no aha. When I got the answer, I was like,
you had a different shock factor.
That's what I do. That's why I do what I do. Because of that. So it was a bittersweet moment because I cried because I had lost so much time. And I laughed and smiled because he couldn't get me again like that. I was like, I got the answer now.
Like, okay now.
And it went all the way back to my childhood that I picked up the Savior spirit, you know, saving my mom because my father, you know, used to dance a lot with his mistress, alcohol. And so my household was dysfunctional in some areas. And I would always sit around and watch her and save her and save and save. And that thing spun right into my adulthood to be the savior. And when I found that out, the answer, because when you get the answer, you know that's the answer. Because it's like, oh, that's it. So imagine me looking around, not being able to find that for so very long, right? And I mean, once I did, I wound up going to school. I wound up getting a degree, certified, so that I could do this for other people because it set me free.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It set
Mhm.
me free. And since that time, I continuously do the work because we're forever evolving around. So that inner peace, Dawn.
That's right. That's right. It's key. It's key. You have to find out your why. You know, me and my other best friend, we used to make a joke and we'd say, "Why am I thus? You know, why am I, why am I like this, Lord? You know,
Right.
what is the problem? You know, and you're so right. And a lot of us we don't take that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we acknowledge that there's something's not right, but we don't really want to take the time to find
Yeah.
out what it is because we're afraid to find out what it is. Because then you find out it's a point of admission, you know,
Yes.
and you don't, the worst person to tell the truth to, I found, is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not the worst. I would say the hardest person to tell the truth to
Mm-hmm.
is yourself. You know, and we have to own up to so many things about us, like, and we don't look at it from the perspective that we should. Like you said, you wanted to help, because that's what you knew and that's what you came up with. But having to go back and realize the root of it
Mm.
probably made you have to relive some very uncomfortable,
Oh.
unfavorable and unpleasant moments and memories that in that time, we go into survivor mode quite often.
Mm-hmm.
I know me, I go numb and I will, how they say the functioning addict or the functioning alcohol,
Yeah.
numb and I will function like nothing is wrong because I have to survive through this. And I
Exactly.
personally became like numb became my norm. It was no
Wow.
longer, yeah, it was no longer like what I did in the moment to survive. It became who I was.
Wow. That's deep.
Yeah, and most people wouldn't think so. They'd be like, well, no, because you love it and you're sweet and you're so jovial and you're funny and it's nice, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I'm all of that, but
yeah, sure.
there's some other layers on me.
Right. And when I had to come to terms with that, it
Mm-mm-mm.
took like finding out why, because that was my way of surviving through, those things. And that's what made me realize also like why I am this way. Why is it so easy for me to connect with a toxic person, so to speak, because I
Mhm.
understand what it feels like to be on the outside. I understand what it feels like. One thing I dislike strongly is disappointment. So I try not to disappoint others,
Mhm.
but then I find myself overcompensating or overdoing just so that I meet the mark so they don't have to feel what I felt.
Wow, that's something.
Mhm.
That takes energy too. That you have to be mindful of that as well, because that could pull you in.
Absolutely. And it did pretty much every time. And I really didn't realize that pattern.
Mhm.
And then I had to learn how to start saying no.
Oh, the power of the word no. I had to
Yes,
learn
ma'am.
that as well. That's a sentence. No.
It is.
In a nice diplomatic kind way, but it's still no.
And I never knew that. It took a long time for me to find out that no is a sentence. It is a complete sentence. It is a book.
Yes.
It's a paragraph. It leaves no misunderstandings. It is
Yes.
full and whole by itself. And
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's look at number two, excessive, although we just touched on it, excessive self blame. Thinking everything is 100% your fault, whether it's a failed relationship or an accident, will affect the way you see yourself and the world around you. You can't always prevent bad things from happening. Mentally strong people take appropriate accountability. That's a strong word, accountability. They recognize they're responsible for their choices, but
mhm,
they also acknowledge factors beyond their control, like the state of economy, the weather, and other people's choices. Because when you gravitate and grab everything and put it on you, like you're part of it, or why can't I change it? That excessive self blame is very dangerous.
mhm. It plays on your self-esteem. It will make you mentally feel incompetent and incapable. It causes you to second guess and question yourself. But I feel like when you know who you are, and when you are clear, you don't. I've learned not to apologize for the things I say because
Hmm.
it's what I meant, but I may apologize for the way I said it.
Said it.
you know, and with that, it's because I'm owning my words. You know,
Yes.
I'm owning my feelings. In another time, I might not have, and I might have apologized for what I said because I'm taking blame, like, oh, I hurt their feelings because I said this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but I'm not sorry that I said it.
Right.
You
It
know,
had to be said.
right, right. And it's not always you. Sometimes, like you said, it had to be said or it had to be done. So,
Right.
you know, we have to be strong enough to own our voice and own your truth and rest in that.
Yeah.
You
Because that's part of the ingredient to inner peace.
know?
You know, and it has to be sometime a tough love thing or just being true to yourself. So chasing happiness is a big one. Thinking you need to be happy all the time will backfire.
Oof.
Mentally strong people are willing to put in the hard work it takes to gain contentment, right? Contentment, that's a beautiful word. They refuse to give in to instant gratification or temporary indulgences. Been there, done that.
Right.
Been there, done that. Hey, Bravette. Bravette is in the house. You know, we have to greet our girl.
Hey, and they.
Hey, Anae, we love you. Yeah. She said, all right, let me give you your personal greeting. Hey.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So it's, you know, that mentally strong people, we're willing to put in the hard work to gain contentment. That is so important. We refuse to give in to instant. Now, this is big. When you refuse to give in to instant gratification or temporary indulgences, you know, they look for ways to build a brighter future for creating what? Long-term goals.
I think you embrace life better when you learn to be content. You know, when we are looking for, like you said, the instant gratification, it's just you living in that moment and then you're looking for the next high, you know, and happy is a state of mind, a state of being, or, you know, I don't even, a lot of times, like, what is happy? You know, like really because what makes you happy constantly changes, you know, but when you are content, you are learning to embrace the moment, the
Right.
experience, you know, you're living in the now. And I think that's what gives you more peace and it's
Exactly.
more stable
Right.
than
That's why
chasing.
we say the joy
Hmm.
of the Lord is our strength, right? The joy, right? That unspeakable joy. So,
Right.
you know, being in that state where, you know, we are chasing happiness is one thing. So far, we have opened up. If those of you have just tuned in, we are having a wonderful conversation and we're talking about the 10 things. What are we talking about? The 10 things that mentally strong people give up to gain inner peace. Give up to gain inner peace. And so we went through engaging with toxic people and we went to excessive self blame. We went to chasing happiness. And now we're talking about staying comfortable. Staying comfortable. Andrea Colbreath, thank you. Hallelujah. Thank you for being here. She says, you know how we do we know we do with the Bravettes. We put up
Bravo.
when they're here. Yes, yes. And so, you know, being strong is an intentional thing that after I feel a woman has gone through so many channels, so many different relationships or jobs or whatever it is that you're keyed into, there's a time where we have to sit in it with ourselves and find out, engage where we are, where have we been, where are we going, what has happened, what have we allowed to what? Get inside of us to offset where we're going. What that, you know, what poison did we allow to come in? What
Right.
destructive spirit or person do we allow to come in to the point that it offsets where we are in ourselves? So it's inside out. It's not outside in. And we get it all wrong sometimes, thinking that the beauty of what we need to look like or feel like is the key to, you know, where we will wind up in life, when really it's your innermost being. You know, they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? But today's day, all I see is, and I won't say all, that's a big statement. I see a lot of people focus totally on the outer, right? And of course, we love outer, we love that, but we cannot negate or neglect the inner beauty that we should have on the inside. It doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or not. You should want to be beautiful for you. You
That's
should
right.
want to feel healthy for you. And so staying comfortable, it may seem like staying inside your comfort zone is the key to feeling good in life, but avoiding discomfort always backfires. In the end, you got to be stretched, right?
That's it.
Mentally strong people face their fears, venture into unknown areas. That's a big one. You know, the unknown is kind of scary, but that's the only way you stretch and test their limits. We need to know our abilities. We need to know how far we can go at that point in our lives, right? Because the gauge keeps moving. The more we travel, the more, because we're travelers, the more we travel, the more we get stretched, right? And then we meet another goal and another limitation. So strong people know that being uncomfortable is tolerable, and allowing themselves to experience discomfort is the key to living better. And I know that's hard. To allow yourself to experience discomfort on purpose,
Right.
is not easy.
But it's gonna happen either way. It's gonna happen. So you might as well go willingly, because you're gonna need your energy once you get there. So my spiritual mom once said, she had started a new job. She's a dean at a college, and she was starting a different job. And she said, everything I ever did, I never did before.
Mm.
And I was like, when I read it, I had to read it a few times, and I was like, and I mean, and she's well traveled, she's extremely knowledgeable, like she's amazing, you know. And to hear her, she was saying it because I believe she said she was nervous about where she was going, because it was, like I said, somewhere she had never been before, and it was uncomfortable to her. But she was not willing to let her fear of being uncomfortable stop her from experiencing this opportunity. And she said to me, she said it to herself as a point of motivation to remind her that where she's going is not greater, like the unknown is not greater than her experience of, what she has known. The fear of the unknown is not greater, and so I embrace that in my life now. When I start feeling uncomfortable because I'm starting to be stretched and go in arenas that I've never been before, and the new kid in the room, I grab hold of myself and remind myself that everything I ever did, I never did before. We all had to take the first step.
Exactly.
You had to, if you think back to your first launch, with putting out Bravo with Sheila, or Sheila Ingram Ministries, or your first performance, everything that we did was something we never did before. And then look behind you, think of all the things, so
that's
us
good.
being uncomfortable, is actually a door to what's next for you.
That's so true. That's so true, Dawn B, because I know, we're all wired so differently. We're introverts and extroverts in life. And introverts have a harder time to branch out to the unknown than an extrovert. An extrovert's personality is, they just do it. They just run right into a door, and then an introverted person, look for the nearest corner when they go in the restaurant, or a quiet bench, or, not feeling, I don't want to go, I don't want to get that microphone, in class, you want to cower down people. But the extrovert, so God wires us so differently. But each temperament, each person has to be stretched in order to get to that place called there. And kick it, like you said, either or, you're going to get there one way or another, right? Let's talk about the victim mentality. Thinking the world and the people are out to get you will prevent you from being your best. And true. In fact, you blame all of your problems on external circumstances. You'll never take responsibility for your life. I have counseled so many women and people like that who just, are kind of like finger pointers. Not that they haven't gone through trauma, because trauma, and we're going to talk about that, the difference between trauma and a traumatic experience, not tonight, but we're going to touch on these things because I think it's very, very important, because people always put trauma in one box. Trauma is a part of PTSD. Trauma is, it's all these different, temporary trauma. It's all these different aspects. People, I've been through a traumatic experience, or I was traumatized when I was young. It's all different definitions to talk about regarding that. So here we go with the victim mentality. blaming problems and on external circumstances, you'll never, take responsibility for your life. Mentally strong people, because that's what we're talking about tonight. Mentally strong people acknowledge their choices, even in the face of tragic circumstances. They focus on the things they can control,
Right.
and they refuse to waste their time hosting pity parties. Now, I'll park there for a second because, again, we're wired differently. We process differently. We get to different places at different times. My thing is keep traveling, keep it moving, keep getting there, keep working on it, because allowing a circumstance and a situation to rob you, again, we're talking about the enemy within. That's what this show is talking about tonight. The enemy, that enemy's got to go. Whatever it is that's blocking you, whatever it is that's speaking in your head, because we know what happens up here in this head. The voices start or the doubt happens. So, we have, I just want to yield the floor to you. I see you got something you want to say. Go ahead and say it.
I'm just thinking, victim mentality is so many, it's so much. I feel like when we're in that state, or those who are in that state, you keep it alive. You are in this, you are continuing your cycle. So it's like, do you want, like, something may have happened, whatever happened, it happened. But how many times are you going to relive it? And I speak that from my own experience. I realized I was stuck in a place. I wasn't saying I was a victim, but, I was like, I was really wronged. And I kept it alive. The wrong that was done to person or other parties, they's going on with their life, and they, and everybody's doing their thing. And here you are, we entrap ourselves by keeping that victim mentality. And it took for me to finally get to, like, I was angry and frustrated because I felt like my life was not going where it was supposed to. And it was unfair because the other person was going on with their life. But I had to come to the terms that the reason why is because you stayed here.
Yeah. The accountability.
Right. And I had to then own up, like you said before, to what my part in the situation was. They didn't just break in and enter. You opened the door. You invited, you made it comfortable, you made whatever, so we have to get to that place where we stop continuing to pedal the bike that's not moving anywhere,
It's true. And it's not easy. It's true. Everything you said is so powerful and so true. It is not easy at all when things have been done to you. You've been betrayed, or you've been violated as a young girl. You've been, so many things, DV, domestic violence, all these things that women and men too go through. It's hard. It's hard. Let's see. We have Andrea who wants to. She says, yes, I had to ask, as the word says, do you want to be made? Yes.
Amen. That's right.
Yes, sis. Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you want to be made whole? That's it right there.
Right.
Because if you don't ask yourself that, in the word, God, what Jesus said, pick up your bed and walk. How long are you going to lay there talking about everybody pushing you and you can't get in the water? Every time I try to get in, they come and push me out the way. Okay, you said that last year and the year before and the year before. The Lord said, okay, so do you really want to be made whole? Pick up your bed.
When you want to be made whole, guess what? You'll learn to push back.
You will.
You will learn to push back.
Absolutely.
And the biggest pushback is within yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of you may see that I'm not in the Bravo studio. I am still on the road and had to do a makeshift. I just had to get on. I haven't been off. I apologize from last week, but it's been a journey the last couple of weeks. So anyway, we're here.
That's right.
We're here. All right. Trying to impress people. You could waste a lot of your life trying to make people, oh God, like you. This is a big one. Depending on admiration from others. However, it gives others power over you. So many women give that power up. They give it up. But mentally strong people.
Because that's what we talk about today.
That's what we're talking about today. Mentally strong people are comfortable in their own skin. They don't waste their time worrying about whether other people approve of their choices. Instead, they focus on living according to their, here's a good word, values. Why do women give up their value system so easy? And again, sometimes it's based on where you come from, what you've been through, what's been done. But come on, we got to move. We got to travel.
I think we have mastered compromise in the wrong way. You know, we use that word in the wrong way. You know, compromise is, neither one of us lose anything. We actually gain more because we're coming together. When we compromise, you know, we tend to give up and yield. We tend to lower and change our standards. And we do that because we tend to not want to lose what we think we have. You know, you get that one person that's finally feeding you that attention, or, you know, giving you that time of day, or, you know, whatever it is that you're seeking. And now you shift when they shift, you know, and you're constantly trying to impress them, and you're moving your bar, you know, instead of saying no, you know, hold your line and have them, if you're really valuable to them, they'll come where you are. You know, and it's not compromise if you're constantly giving up who you are and what you are in order to impress them, because what you do once to impress them, you're going to have to continue every time. You know, they now you got to do this. Now you got to wear green. Now you got to wear yellow. Now you got to wear sneakers. Now you got to wear stilettos. Now, you know, that's so
true. You get that take too much energy, girl. You can't be doing that. No, listen, you gotta say this is what it is. Right. You know, and take it or leave it. It take too much energy to keep that up. Oh my goodness, give me a break. I can't do it. Right. I can't. You run out of things. You know, eventually you're gonna be uncovered, and it's gonna be seen that, oh, that's not really who you are. Like we say a lot of times when men take us on those dates. Right? When you get a date and he show up, is this the representative or is this you?
You got your wig, and I ain't mad at nobody, do you, boo? But you got your wig, you got your lashes, you got your, you know,
all of that's good, but who are you? You know, is this your is it a representative?
Right. You know, that's like when he meets you for breakfast and you ain't got the wig on, you got the braids and the cap, you know, and your eyelashes ain't in yet, you know, when.
Oh, you got your bonnet on, looking all crazy, right? He's like, look, my hair, because you know a sister with her hair. She gonna put that silky, pretty bonnet on. It may be a bonnet, but it's gonna be. It's so funny. Oh my goodness! How about the pursuit of perfection? Ooh. Striving for excellence is healthy, but insisting on perfection is an uphill battle. I think we're mentioning that, right? Yes, You'll never feel good enough if you set the bar impossibly high. That's what we just said. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. He's 2 for 1. But mentally strong people, right? Accept it, but they accept that they're going to fail and make mistakes. They are able to acknowledge their flaws and weaknesses. That's the mentally strong folk. But you're right. That rolled right into that, segued right into that. Number 8, look at God. Number 8, grudges. You may think holding on to a grudge somehow punishes someone else, but say but. We stirring it. We're stirring it tonight. Okay. But in reality, clinging to anger and hatred only reduces your life. Now, see, that's another hard one, because it's hard to get through something with somebody that did you wrong and betrayed you and you love. That's a rough one. That's why I tell you, I don't know how people do it without the Lord, because listen, the hurt and pain and how life happens, that thing is hard to get through on your own. You need God's grace and his peace. We're talking about the enemy within tonight, the things that intrude in our spirit, the thing that comes to rob us of our peace, the thing or the person that comes to rattle and shake us to keep us off balance. Well, that's what we're talking about, inside out tonight. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Grudges.
Horrible.
Mentally strong people let go of grudges.
There you
At
go.
least they learn how to in time, right?
In time.
Yeah.
Nobody said you had to do it right away, but
Right.
layer by layer.
They layer by layer, sis. And so they focus their energy on more worthwhile causes. Again, at a certain point in time, we must shift. We must pivot. We lose, man, time is moving so fast. My birthday is next month. I can't believe how old I'm going to be. I don't have a minute for someone to get in my space and mess with my head, or definitely mess with my peace. No. It's a battle. Let's see what Sandra is saying. Sandra said, hey, DB, do you know me personally? Do you know Sandra Birthright?
We might be twins, sis. We might be twins. I don't know.
Listen, it says that doesn't mean that they allow themselves to be abused by people. However, it just means that they don't allow pent up resentment to overtake their lives. And it's easy to hold on to that stuff. So listen, I tell you, I met some people, like when I go to the island sometime and talk to the women, and it's a different culture. And it's so difficult for them to get through things, and pent up anger becomes their norm.
Yes.
So much so they crying before the Lord, and they want to be free, but they won't exchange bitterness for love, because love feels uncomfortable. Love is a place they've never ventured out to, because they've accepted abuse so long, or they've accepted being belittled so long, not just in the island. I'm just saying my experience with a lot of women in different countries, and they've accepted. And I'm like, wait a minute, even counseling women that I've had, I was like, wait, this person is so in love with abuse. They're afraid of love. They don't even know how to receive love. What's wrong with you? Why you said that? You love me? No, you don't love me. Or go ahead.
I was just say, just in that, my sidebar is because healing makes you vulnerable again. And that's why people, I know I walked like that for a long time too. I was like, I'd rather hold on to this pain than this hurt, because this I know. But if I heal from it, it's going to open me up to be vulnerable, to be hurt again in a different way, you know. And I was like, nope, because if you stab me, I feel that pain. And if you come behind it and try to poke me with a pin, I'm not going to feel that, because I'm already dealing with this pain. So I was like, I'd rather deal with the pain that I know, and when I finally decided to, like, I don't want to do this no more, because this ain't really comfortable, and you have to get over that fear and allow yourself to heal so that you can. And then you take love after that, one step at a time. You got to learn.
And you gotta, people have to earn it.
Yeah.
You're not easy to just give it up like you did when you were 20, 30, or just in general. You've learned some lessons, right?
Listen,
and it's not an easy place to, what you say, Dawn?
I said, I got a hard application process. I ain't playing with the people. Everybody.
You said you're going to let them in, but they got to go through the process and the application process. They got to go. They got to get that application. So let me see what you wrote.
Over here. We screen over. We pre-screen and screen.
Oh my God. At this point, we got to do some pre-screening and screening, right? Oh, Lord, especially with what's out there right now. I mean, the world has changed. Like, you don't know who you talking to. You don't forget about everything. Get on the app. What app? Ain't no but catfishing and all kind of stuff. No. It's everything. Nothing's organic anymore.
Listen, if you got to go through 3 interviews to get a job, I'm working. You got to meet with a few people.
Got to meet with a few people.
And then when you do get the job, then you still got a 90-day period. Like, it's a hard application. They've been doing it right. That's how you weed it out.
You got a trial period. And then at the end of the 90 days, you be like, okay, let's have a little talk. Let's go through this.
We'll have a review.
A review. Oh my God, that is hilarious. That is so funny. Oh my God, that is funny. All right, number 9, the quest for material things. No matter how much money you make, a bigger house, a nicer car, or more expensive clothing won't give you peace of mind. Expecting material possessions to satisfy your needs will leave you sorely disappointed. So True, but
right.
mentally strong people, what we're talking about tonight, mentally strong people aren't necessarily minimalist. However, they can enjoy nice things, but they don't expect their material possessions to give them joy and contentment. And that's a biggie. It runs out. It runs out.
They know how to not let that, you can enjoy it, but you don't make it your joy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God, this is so good. This is fun. We're talking about mentally strong people. We're not talking yet, but yes, we're not talking about that broke down place. Even though we love you, if you out there, give me a call.
Right, we got you.
We got you. We got you. Free 15-minute consultation. We got you. We got resources. Just go to bravowithsheila@gmail.com. Hit me an email. We got you. But tonight is about mentally strong people who have decided, in other words, to trade their sorrows for what?
For joy.
Praise.
There you go.
Just trade your sorrow for praise. Just go ahead and switch it and give that sorrow up. It done been in you too long. It's occupying too much of your space. You got people, places, to go. You got things to do, my sister and my brother. You got to move. You got to get rid of, you got to be inside out. The enemy in you must die tonight. Tonight. Number 10, complete self-reliance. Thinking you can do everything on your own is about acting tough, not being strong. There will be times when asking for help is important. That is so true. And we want you to ask for help. We want you to get with, sometimes, women, don't let me park here, but women are hard to trust. Don't let me park right here. I can't, we don't have enough time to talk about the women and they say they're your sister. She ain't heavy, she my sister. And then when stuff hit the fan, like, listen, you in the boat and going through the river and the sun is shining on you and your friend and some storm hit you in life. And you look around, they done jumped ship. And nobody in the boat but you.
And took both the stirs.
And
didn't even leave you with a piece of wood. Then took it both.
Left you stranded out there.
Because you in a boat. And your 2 hands and your feet. That's it. That's all you got. What a mess is that?
I'm telling you. So you do have to be so very careful who you trust. I always say you have to have a safety net. You got to have a confidential, I don't care if it's one person, a confidential person where you could pour your heart out and you could share everything at the cup of and that person is not judgmental. That person is only going to love you back to where you need to be. And so you find that a lot. Don't let me start about the church. I can't go there tonight where you don't let me go there where you think you trusting certain folk in the church, elders and all, ministers. That's right, I said it. And then you say, oh, come on, talk. The pastor told me talk with you, sit with you. And then you sit there and say, I'm still seeing my boyfriend. I really, really love him. And I've been with him. Well, I thought, wait a minute. I thought you wasn't with him. Well, you said I could talk to you. You said, and then next thing you know, well, I think we need to call. Hey, Elder Cal, come on over.
Right.
What are you doing? So now you lock people down to not trust. They trying to get it together, and there you go, exposing. Oh my God! I tell you, we can't go, Dawn. We can't park there tonight. We got to do our part 2 of Church Hurt. But we have to finish it. But. Being that happens, here we go. But strong, mentally strong, mentally strong people aren't afraid to admit when they need help, whether they rely on a higher power, ask for professional help, or lean on a friend during a time in need. They gain strength from others, knowing they don't have to have all the answers. Gives them a renewed sense of inner peace. We are talking about inner peace. We are talking about inside out tonight. We are talking about the enemy got to go tonight. The enemy within, and we all have the enemy within shouting, screaming, trying to shut you down, using certain people to get you off balance. It happens every day. So you have to stay woke.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Absolutely.
darn. This is
You know, tap the
something.
nerve, Foxy.
What? No, I'm serious because we have to pay so much attention to our fears, things that haunt us,
Right.
right? Because the enemy comes to harass our soul, right? And if it gets up here and we keep it up here long enough, it travels to our soulish nature. And then what
Yeah.
happens?
Yeah.
Our behavior follows. Let's see
Absolutely.
what some of these comments are saying. My cousin Janice is in the house. So true, cuz. Yes. My sister and from another mother is here, Kathy. She said, got that right. And then here we go with my cousin again. She said, so very true. Not the church. Keep it to yourself. Not the church. Don't do it. And that is so sad. That is so very sad.
See,
We
that's
know it. We know it's a hospital. We know everybody had a different experience. We know everybody's on different levels. We understand that. But when you can't trust the leaders, when you can't trust those that have been highly esteemed and put up to be qualified, right? That process that you got, we need to put a little thing, a 90-minute trial thing for the people in the church. We need to create something so that they say, oh, I want to do this. I want to do it. Well, okay, wait a minute. We got a checklist for you. Have you ever did this? Have you ever done that? And I'm not talking about personally. Do you have the gift of love? What's your love walk like? You know what? You know, these things are so important if you're going to deal with people.
yeah.
How dare you judge people?
But the people that act like that, that's the church with the little c. You know, that's church. That's the lowercase c. Don't play. Don't play with me.
That's the lowercase.
It's the lowercase. Right? You know, but when you get to the real church, the church of the big C, you know, the ecclesia, the called out one, there's difference.
The called out one. There you go. There you go.
Difference.
It is.
Everybody in church is not church.
True. And everybody's not there for the same reason.
That's right.
They're not, you know, many people play church. Many people, you know, don't want to grow. And many people are just comfortable where they are. People that are in churches don't necessarily have to be in ministry or be a part of the functioning body. You know, they may come just as parishioners, whatever, but there should be a transformation of growth.
Right.
At some point, you know, if they're getting the word and the word is penetrating their heart, you know, then you will see fruit at some point. Prayerfully, but that doesn't always happen. But that's not the topic for tonight. Right. So we will move on. And we're getting ready to tie this up because I have a meeting at 8:00 with my artist, and I promised him I would show up. I'd jump off. Let's see what my cousin said. And the little God, Lil G.
There you go. See? Yeah, we here.
Right, you and Janice right there. For sure. So we're going to end with this. I cannot control, class. I heard you say it. I cannot control. If other people. No, I cannot control if other follow the rules of social distancing. Fights, gunshots, everything is going off because of social distancing. Who thought that would be on the list? Whoever thought that would happen? But you can't control that.
Can't control it.
You can't control. You can't predict what will happen. You cannot predict or control how others act.
That's right.
You can't control other people's motives. But you can control. Say, I can control.
I can control. I can control.
Yeah, right. Because I choose to focus on these things.
Right.
Positive attitude.
Positive
Finding fun things to do from home, like happy movies and happy places to go. You have to have a hobby. You have to have things to create and put inside of you to counterpart and counter move when life happens. You can't let life happening sit inside of you without countering those things with something enjoyable, something that gives you joy, something where you can laugh, right? Limit my social media. Sometimes, you know, people just get on social media and they spend hours. I Googled it and I can't even give you the hours right now. We did a show, you remember, and I gave the hours of how many hours women stay on social media in a week. it was mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Where communication and interaction with people now has become like nonchalant. It's like it doesn't exist.
People don't
It's
even know how.
old. No. And so in closing, I want you to know that kindness and grace to you is something that you have to place within you on purpose. No enemy within should be able to occupy your space. You know, if you have an attitude problem, if you have low self-esteem, if you're going through anything, you must deal with it. You must identify it to crucify it. There's no other way to get it out of you, so that you have what? The joy of the Lord, to move to that next place called there, where you're headed. We are going somewhere. We are on our way somewhere. All of us are on our way somewhere. But based on how we channel things within us and don't allow things to take root in our heart, right? That's the problem. The root, the roots get in the heart now. They just can't move from it. The unforgiveness kicks in, and what happened to me, and what happened to me a long time ago, and what they did. That's bondage that doesn't let you go. Fight for your life to be free for your life. I'm going to yield it to my co-host, Dawn B, to give the last comment to all of you. Remember, when nothing changes, and you must keep it moving. If you know anyone who needs to chat or talk, just check, call me up for a free 15-minute consultation, just so you can get to that next level or dimension. We all, listen, the therapist has a therapist, the counselor has a counselor, the friend has a friend. You can't do this thing by yourself. You need help all the time, just to have someone you can trust to talk to. Dawn B.
I would just say this, know who you are, own who you are, embrace who you are. And when you do those things, you won't let anybody come in and change and alter who you are. Just stay true to you. All the pieces don't have to be in place, but the pieces that you do have, know them, own them, embrace them, and stay true to them.
All right. Stay right there. Don't move. I got and let's do this. And let's do this. Ciao. Say ciao, Dawn.
Ciao.
Thank you guys for being here.